Davis, Frank. On June 3, 1971, 13-year-old Dwayne Bush was reported missing from his home in Union Mills, Indiana. Suspected as a runaway, in light of recent confrontations with the local juvenile authorities, Dwayne had actually been kidnapped, sodomized, and strangled. 3 months elapsed before a hunter found his scattered skeletal remains on wooded ground, 5 miles northeast of town. The dead boy was identified from dental charts. The terror had begun, but it was quickly interrupted. Shortly after Dwayne Bush died, Frank Davis was convicted on a charge of burglary and sentenced to a term of 1 to 10 years in the penitentiary. 3 months after his release, he joined a friend in sticking up a grocery store for $40. Once again, the sentence bore a 10-year maximum. Davis escaped briefly, in 1975, but was swiftly recaptured. Parole put him back on the street in 1982, and he was hunting even as the prison gates swung shut behind him. On January 10, 1983, a 15-year-old victim was assaulted in LaPorte, Indiana, 10 miles northeast of Union Mills. Choked semi-conscious and clubbed with a pistol, the boy survived his injuries and staggered to the police station, where he filed a report of the incident. On June 16, young Darren Reed, 14, abruptly vanished on the short walk to his girlfriend's house. His body, sodomized and strangled, was recovered 3 days later, in the afternoon. By that time, other victims had been added to the list. On June 18, Jeff Lopez, age 15, had set up camp with friends at Kingsbury Fish and Wildlife Park, between LaPorte and Union Mills. That afternoon, a man who called himself Frank Davis offered Lopez and another boy free motorcycle rides. A friend recalled that Jeff had briefly bogged the cycle down in mud, but Davis did not seem to mind. He was a friendly sort, all smiles. At 3 a.m. on June 19, the friendly man abducted Lopez from his camp and dragged him through the woods until they reached a clearing where the boy was sodomized, then murdered in an axe and knife assault which left him nearly headless. Doubling. Case Histories 89. Back, the killer seized a sleeping friend of Jeff's, repeating the assault and leaving victim number 2 for dead. The boy was still alive, however, when a team of searchers found him in the afternoon and rushed him to a local hospital. Upon regaining consciousness, he offered homicide detectives a description of the killer, and he offered them a name, as well. The body of Jeff Lopez was recovered on June 21, and officers arrested Davis later in the day. The murder weapon was an axe belonging to the dead boy's father, picked up at the campsite at the time of the abduction. Tests revealed no fingerprints, but they would not be necessary. From his cell, Frank Davis made a full confession in the deaths of Lopez, Reed, and Bush, along with 2 counts of attempted murder for the victims who survived. Scheduled for trial in January 1984, Davis opted for a guilty plea on 2 counts of felony murder, Reed and Lopez, and 2 counts of attempted murder. The latter charges earned him prison terms of 50 years apiece. On the murder charges, Davis was condemned to die.